Hello, welcome back everybody. Let's have a look at some of these coins then, shall we? So we'll start with Bitcoin, move on to some of the major alts, and obviously have a look at Matic, because we always like to look at Matic on this channel. And just to let you know, I've reinvested some of this YouTube money that I've made, which is, hardly anything, into cheap webcams. You'll get to see my face in the little corner of the screen like you used to do back in the olden days. I was using an iPhone, like an old iPhone that I had knocking around for that. Unfortunately, my nephew stole it and I've never seen it again. What can you do? He was only 7 years old, but family, you know what I mean. So let's start then, shall we? So Bitcoin has bounced. When I looked at this chart yesterday, because I haven't made a video in a long time actually, just too busy with kids and work and everything like that. When I looked at this video, I looked at the chart yesterday when I was making this video, and it looked to me like it wanted to bounce, because basically what I've seen here over the last few days is that we've come down to this bottom level. The bottom level basically being the 200 EMA, where we've hit 4 times, and with varying degree of bounces. The first one was okay, the second one wasn't so great, third one was pretty bad, fourth one was even worse. So the idea basically that I've got was that we are having bad reactions on it, but the fact is it's held up quite well over the space of, well, that would have been 4 days, so 5 days now when we've launched. The whole coronavirus outbreak doesn't really do it for me, I'm afraid, with this. Yes, it does have it definitely does have some impact on cryptocurrency, like it did with the rest of the traditional markets, but also I'm more inclined to look at this as a chart-based analysis, because charts, they are subject to political interference and social and economic issues, but the chart also speaks for itself. And when we look at this chart, what we see is when we topped up here, we were looking at pretty overbought territory. Ethereum is the best example of this. Massively overbought territory, in desperate need of a retracement, or at least a cooling off period after rallying up over 100%, almost 150% actually, from where it bottomed at this level over a space of about 2 months. So it was inevitable that it had to come down. Now, obviously, it's come down a lot, so that to me suggests that yes, it's likely to be bottoming. And the reason I say that is because we were very close to reaching the actual bottom area here before we got into oversold territory. Doesn't mean that we can't do it. We could still easily go for another downtrend on this. Easily can go for another downtrend, at least to test the 200 EMA once again for Bitcoin. But you see where I'm coming from. Yes, coronavirus has kicked off, and it is spreading, and it is killing, but also, RSI are basically with Ethereum at an all-time high, even higher than where we were all the way back here when we reached our actual all-time high. Basically the highest Ethereum has ever been at this level, and the RSI hadn't even got that high. So you see where I'm coming from. Basically, the indicators mean something. So coronavirus or no coronavirus, when you have an RSI of this height, it has to come down. Obviously it can move higher, but it's very unstable at that level. So are we ready to come down even further? Maybe, or are we ready to continue with this bull trend that was oh so brilliant for such a long period of time over that 2-month period? I'm more inclined to think that we're going to continue with the bullish move, to be honest with you, because yes, Corona has affected the markets, but charts like this speak for themselves. And to be honest with you, we crashed and burned all the way back down here, but even when we double bottomed, we were at a higher RSI level than we were here, and we've been creeping up ever since until we got to this level up here, where we basically had to come back down again. We came back down, we're ready to go. We've found support, and the support is on the 200 EMA, so long as we're above the 200 EMA on any asset, any stock, any commodity, any cryptocurrency, I'm still leaning towards the bullish sign. Some of these moving averages have begun to cross negatively, which is it's not a great sign. It's a bad sign. Let's face it, it's a bad sign. But the most important ones haven't actually crossed. Now, there's a few things that do concern me on this one, which is the fact that we have this cross here, which is the Ichimoku Cloud conversion baseline cross, saying that there'll be a continuation of the move down from this level here. But as we found a relatively strong level of support here, I think that if we do continue down, it will bounce. Now, let's have a look at these moving averages in a bit bigger. See what's looking to take place. So Ichicloud's conversion line has leveled out. It's likely to start to tick back up again, and when we get that second cross, I think this is going to be the big bull move that we're going to be waiting for. Obviously we're in bearish territory when it comes to Ichicloud crossing, so take your long positions with a pinch of salt. Be prepared to be stopped out, for instance. And I think there's an argument for both cases. One of the arguments being on the 4-hourly chart with Bitcoin, we do have a death cross. Death cross took place here. That death cross usually would play out, for a shorter period of time. So we'll be generous and say that with the death cross took place, the price action being there, coming all the way back down to this level here. That's only a 6.25% decrease in price from the top of that wick to the bottom of that wick. That's not much considering it was a death cross. However, when you go to a daily chart, what do we see? We see a golden cross up here, and so we'll be generous, shall we? And we'll measure it from the bottom of this wick. We'll go for this wick actually, and be very generous. So bottom to top, that's a 22%, 22.5% increase from the bottom of that wick to the top of that wick, thereabouts, which again isn't really exactly where you would expect to see a lot more of a move from a daily golden cross, especially one with a coin or an asset that's been consolidating for this period of time. So what I'm saying to you basically is that I'm going to put more weight onto the daily golden cross than I would on the 4-hourly death cross, basically because I like to trade long-term periods. So daily charts for me often speak to me and speak bolder than they would do on a 4-hourly chart. Yes, a 4-hourly chart will give you signals and indicators if you're looking to sort of make money fast, but there's more risk involved because the overall direction is often spotted and charted on a longer term time frame. You don't need me to tell you what Bitcoin looks like if you look at it on a monthly period. Binance doesn't really show you a great deal, but if you were to look at it on a monthly period over its entire history, you will see that it's clearly a bullish chart. When you're starting at something like 5 cents and you end up somewhere around 10,000 or 20,000, that's pretty bullish. You don't need me to tell you that. So what I'm saying is that the daily chart, even though it's daily and it's not as long as monthly, it's still a bit more of a better time frame to be going by. So I am continuing with the bullish move because the bullish move for me was confirmed with this golden cross. Now unfortunately we're beneath the green 50 exponential. Only when we get above that green 50 will I really start to go hard on Bitcoin, and I've got some longs now, and I do have some longs, but I am being very careful with them. I do have a stop loss in at this level. Once we get up above the green 50, I'll be pretty confident to say that we will be launching at that point. So that price target for us at the moment is above 9,000. It's about 9,150 thereabouts. Once we get above there, that would be pretty bullish for me, and I would be pretty confident in saying that actually we'll be running up at that point now, running up into the halving event, which I'm not saying is going to be explosive for Bitcoin. The run up to it is likely to see some decent bullish moves because everybody's expecting it. So people are getting their positions in now, because this is a decent price to be buying it at, considering we're looking at maybe, and this is, this isn't definitely going to happen, but we might be looking at a Bitcoin of between 14 to maybe 16,000 by the end of May. Now I'm expecting that when Bitcoin halving takes place, there'll be a huge dump, because the run up to it, the anticipation of that big move will be what people are buying for, and literally the second that the halving takes place, you'll probably see a big wick up and a massive wick down. So it's one of those non-events in many ways. And then soon after that, we'll have to reassess the state of the chart, because the chart will then take on its own form, and then we can start looking at how the chart looks and start trading it properly again. Things like halving events are good. They're good fun. They're heavily anticipated. They're one of the only things that you can rely on with a cryptocurrency to say that yes, this is definitely a fundamentally bullish thing, a bullish event. But I don't think you're going to see enormous amounts of increase in price thereafter. I think it's going to be a FOMO wick and a big dump, and then the chart will have to reset and tell us what it wants to do after that, which I expect will still be bullish, but I don't think it's going to go crazy. Not this year anyway. So that's Bitcoin for you. So let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum is definitely a much better chart. Much better chart than that. Unfortunately though, looking at it here on the daily, we have an Ichimoku cloud cross on the daily saying that there's going to be a continuation of the move down from this price action that we are at right now, which is unfortunate. So you can see the difference between the way that we've bounced, or should I say been supported on the 200 exponential moving average for Bitcoin. 200 is all the way down here for Ethereum, and actually where we found ourselves being held up for the last 5-6 days is on the green 50 exponential. So as I said before, this is where I get bullish on Bitcoin. We're already there, and we've been there this entire time for Ethereum. So Ethereum has a much more of a bullish chart, apart from this silly old cross here, which is unfortunate. Hopefully this won't actually play out, and we'll have to make some big moves. Now that's just one indicator that I would use. To be honest with you, it's better to look at these sort of things on an even longer time frame, on the weekly. So let's have a look at the weeklies for the Ichi Cloud just to see how that looks. And we've got the opposite of that taking place on the Ichimoku Cloud. So we've actually got a clear cross here at this level here, saying that we're going to have a continuation of the move up on a weekly time frame. So that's definitely bullish to me. So like I say, I prefer longer time frame analysis, and I will go for a weekly over a daily anytime. So especially with Ichimoku Cloud, which is usually for a lot longer time frame. And so I'm more bullish on Ethereum for that. So yes, we do have that cross, but I'll be happy to disregard that over the fact that we got the positive cross on the weekly, even though we've got a negative cross on the daily. So this chart looking good. Yeah, but we were supported at the bottom of the Bollinger Band, above the green 50 exponential, where we didn't come close to a death cross. We've got a golden cross there. Let's have a look what we look like on the 4 hourly. Did we get a death cross on the 4 hourly? No, we didn't. We've avoided the death cross on the 4 hourly and actually been rejected on the green 50 on the 4 hourly, which the price action there is 234. So that's got a bit of a negative slope on it. I would expect to see rejection there again, so 233, and it's descending as well a little bit, but it's so long as we don't break down completely, I'm quite happy with this chart in every respect. 4 hourlies, dailies, weeklies. It looks great to me. So Ethereum's still my biggest holding, and I think I'm going to continue with this biggest holding. This is the one for me. Okay, so nothing really to report on that. RSI has come nicely down into pretty much the central zone, so we're ready to have another big push with this one. We've got a little bit of bearish divergence on the MACD, still bearish, definitely bearish, but we're above the 0 point, so we can pick this up now and continue with that big move up. XRP unfortunately broke down. My analysis for this one has failed. So XRP is such a tricky one. It looked great. We just in case you didn't get my overall analysis on this, okay, I caught some really big moves on this because what I saw was this descending trend line here of XRP, which had basically been consolidating for a 2-year period. We had a bit of a burst and a run up, and we were buying into this, and when we closed above it for the very first time, we launched. Okay, so this is a big deal. This was a big deal for it. Okay, a very big deal for XRP because it hadn't broken out of this descending trend line since it had formed over 2 years ago. We broke out of it and we just went completely bananas, absolutely bonkers. And from the bottom of this candlestick right to the top, we rallied 23.5% in just a few days. that was because we broke out that descending trend line. So unfortunately we broke down underneath it. We broke down beneath that. We broke down beneath the 200 EMA, the 50 EMA, the 50 simple, 200 simple. Basically we're beneath all major moving averages. Every single one of them we're beneath them. So it basically got really nasty and horrible for XRP, and it was tragic to see. And now we're back underneath the descending trend line once again. So what I'm expecting now is an underperforming coin, that being XRP, an underperformer again until we break out of this descending trend line. So at the moment, the golden price is, as of today, we're going to call it roughly around 25 to 26 cents. Breaking above there, we will likely see big moves from it again, but it's going to be a struggle. It's definitely going to be hard. Let's have a look at the weekly, see what that looks like. Okay, so we've got a positive cross on the itchy cloud here for a long-term time frame, but look, I mean, big red clouds above us. Everything's pretty. It's full of resistance. All the way above us is full of resistance. So it's going to take an enormous amount of perseverance to hold this coin and to long this coin with that amount of resistance above us. The RSI on the daily had come down again, but this is one of those coins which didn't really go completely overextended for a prolonged period of time. It was just in those 3 days where it broke above that trend line that it did, and then it just fell out of the sky. So, like all these alts, this one's going to start moving with the rest of them. Might be moving the same speed or just a little bit better than Bitcoin. There's so many other altcoins out there that will make bigger moves. The problem with this is that the technical analysis, as it stands at the moment, is not that good. So it's not actually that good anymore. Here looked great. We made some big moves and we sold up here. That was great. We loved that. But this we don't like. And even though it's fallen all the way back down here, buying it at these levels now, it's still risky. It's just, there's when we've got coins like Ethereum out there, this isn't really the coin. Not for the moment. Not until we break out of this level here. So we need to get above 25.5%. Again, this descending trend is getting lower every day. Let's look at it by the time we hit. So we're in March at the moment. By mid-March, we're going to be at a resistance level of 24 cents. So, it's and at the level that we are at right now on the 20th of March. If we can still stay at this price action, we'll be at that resistance zone. So it's these sort of things that might end up being bullish for it. But right at this moment, there's nothing on this chart that says it's going to do anything special. Not yet. I do expect to see a move again like this, but only when we break out of this descending trend line. So we'll hold on to our horses, invest our money in other coins. That's what I'll be doing. I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. It's just what I'm planning on doing myself, and this is how I see it. So yeah, it was a good call, but there was no follow through, and unfortunately it was terrible. So yeah, my analysis on that one was wrong. Unfortunately, it was wrong. We hit a resistance level which we couldn't break, and we broke back down. So the same the plan for this is, like I said, it's to wait till we break out of this descending trend line again, and then we will get some big moves on it. But for the moment, there's not really going to be any big moves to be had with this one. I don't see. There's nothing on the chart to say that we will. Matic, a real messy chart, still looking actually quite messy, because we topped up over here, and this one was going down in value before these coins did. It was looking pretty unstable and rocky for a while now. Now that said, Matic makes big moves. So this bottom level here, we bottomed out there over the last how long would this be? 5 days, 30%. That is not to be sniffed at. Matic always likes to make its big moves. Now being supported roughly, and again this is getting messy now, it's pretty messy, but being supported roughly just above the 200 EMA, a massive wick down there, but the 200 EMA is what's holding this one up, so it's bullish in that respect. There's a bit of a nice spread between the 50 and the 200 EMA, so it's still bullish, held within the Bollinger Band, which is actually declining still. So yeah, this one, I can't really say which direction it's going to go. It looks like a bit of a bull flag forming on the daily, which is good, which usually would mean a big move will come, but it's not a textbook bull flag, but it's a bit of a bull flag, but it's not textbook. It's a mess, basically. It's a bit of a mess. But I love Matic. We all love Matic on this channel. Weekly chart is a very young chart. What do we have on this? We actually have a bearish signal, but you will get that after you have a giant wick like that. So I can't really read too much into the itchy cloud crosses on this one. We've got negative cross here, negative on the weekly. So again, this is a chart that likes to do its own thing. When we're looking at this, however, this one looks quite interesting. Yep, we have had a negative cross back here. This one looks like it wants to go positive some point soon, maybe sooner than the rest. So we might be looking for some really big moves with Matic. So looking at it right now, given that as an indicator, and the fact that the RSI is in this level, in this zone here, and we've recovered so well from these bottom levels, and the fact that we're above the 200 EMA, I actually, looking at it with fresh eyes, even though there's conflicting information, and Ichimoku clouds aren't really relevant, to be honest with you, on a chart so young. Because really I like to do them on the weekly, and that weekly I'll have to disregard that signal because of this. That I will disregard that because it's you can't judge this itchy cloud cross on that. That doesn't happen on normal charts. So itchy cloud crosses aren't supposed to really be used on something that looks like that. That's just abnormal. So we'll turn off the Ichimoku cloud. That doesn't mean anything here. What does mean something is we've got a MACD that looks like it wants to do a cross soon. We've got a nice neutral RSI ready to be bought back up, and we're recovering well and quite strong and fast from these levels, and we're above, at this point now, all major moving averages if our candle can close around this level. Is above that 2 cent is where we really want to stay. We don't want to go beneath 2 cent, we want to stay above 2 cent. We'd like to consolidate above 2 cent and reaccumulate would be nice. I think Matic is actually, just looking at it right now, I think Matic is actually ready to do something quite big. I'm not saying it's going to do it right now. We're on day one of Bitcoin looking like it wants to tell us that it wants to move back up again. If it doesn't want to move back up again, Matic's going to suffer. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this. But it does look good. It does look actually quite good. And Link looking like it wants to tell us that it's ready to beat its all-time highs. I mean, again, we had technically I would class these as our all-time highs. These are the highest candle bodies that we'd ever had, and actually we did take out our all-time high over here. So it's ready to carry on. It's ready to go. Again, way into the above the 0 point on the MACD here, looking like it wants to cross over these next few days, provided it can continue making decent moves. RSI wants to move up again, so I like the look of this one. The problem I've got with it is that it's moving very hard, very fast, and actually when you look at this, it looks like it wants to be a negative cross on the conversion baseline, but we have a positive cross on the weekly, so it wants continuation. So again, these, at the moment across the board, and you'll get this when you're about to make big moves to the up or big moves to the down. There's conflicting information depending on what time frame you want to look at this. If we're looking at longer time frames, which I'm sure we can all agree that cryptocurrency has got a good projected outcome on the longer term time frames, you don't really need indicators to tell you that. We all know that. That's why we're involved in it. The daily time frame tells us that yes, there could easily be consolidation from the levels that we're at right now. It could come down in value. All of these could come down in value again. Bitcoin coming down to the 200 EMA, Ethereum coming down to the 50 EMA, and worst case scenario all the way down to the 200 EMA. XRP could completely retrace. Matic, Matic can dump anytime it likes. You know that. We all know that. And Link, well, I'll probably say the 50 EMA will hold it, but that's still a significant retrace from the level we're at right now. If it did want to do that, it could come all the way down to that, which would be a 19.2% retrace. All of these things are definitely in the realms of possibilities in the short terms, but long-term time frames, absolutely everything. Maybe not XRP. Well, let's face it, XRP will do okay, but long-term time frames. In fact, long-term time frames. Each one of these coins that I've shown you here has a good projected outcome given a longer-term time frame, and that time frame I would say would be moving us into the summer. Everything's going to look pretty good by the summer. So if you're buying to hold, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, so it's not financial advice, but if you're buying to hold, the projected trajectory of these charts, of these coins, is all good. It's all good. It's all bullish. Short-term time frames, I'll probably say it's 60% in favour of the bulls, 40% in favour of the bears. But that's trading for you. I don't have enough time anymore to trade like I used to, with kids and trying to work on my actual career. So I don't trade as much as I used to. So I do hold a lot more weight on what I see on the longer term time frames, which is definitely bullish. So that said, what am I going to be holding? I will be holding a combination of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Matic, not Chainlink, actually Binance Coin, which I don't have the chart up here, but I can tell you it's Binance Coin's looking good. Binance Coin is more bullish than Bitcoin. It's a combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum for its chart. I don't know why I haven't got that up, but anyway, I'll leave it with you there. It's a longer video than normal, a bit more of a rambling video. Hope that made sense. I hope you watched it to the end. If you did, let me know that you survived this video to the end, because I'm drinking a cup of Earl Grey tea, so feel free to comment heads up to Earl Grey tea. I'll just have a quick sip of that. So feel free to comment Earl Grey tea, and I know you made it to the end, so thanks for doing that. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice week, and take it easy.